So many people have asked me, Chris, how does ChatGPT work? Well, today I'm going to explain it in slow, simple English so everybody can understand. The first thing that you need to know is that the technology, the system, the algorithm, the research behind ChatGPT is originally from translating languages. So Google, the scientists at the company Google, looked into how to write an algorithm, how to essentially write a bunch of code that helps you translate one language to another. Natural translation, where you do not need to go word by word and find and replace. The old way to translate was to simply take one word in one language and replace it with the same word in another language, which anybody who speaks more than one language knows that that doesn't make sense. So the scientists at Google thought of a different way to do this. So to understand how ChatGPT works, first you need to understand how it's trained. And training is when you take a bunch of information and you put it through a computer. So you could imagine a college student reading every single book in a library, and they just read and read and read and read. And you might imagine that after reading all those books, they could probably tell you a lot of information. And this is similar to how training works. But when they're training, really what they're trying to do is figure out patterns and probabilities, not just memorize facts. And essentially what they did is they created a machine learning model, AI model, to predict what the next word is based on some context. So what they did was they ingested a bunch of books, and every single book that they ingested, they asked a simple question based on all the texts I've seen in the past, based on every book that I've read in the past. If I see a word, what is the next word most likely to be? And this is really interesting because if you see the word the, THE, you might realize that any word could follow that. So, how could just predicting the next word create so much knowledge and information? Well, it's about context. And the technical term for this is attention. But you may have heard something called the context window. What the context window is everything that comes before the word that you are writing. So let's take an example. If my job is to predict what the next word is going to be, and the word is something like glasses, how do I know if you're talking about a glass of wine or eyeglasses, something that I would wear on my face? Well, I would know as a human being from the context. The context might be what we were talking about before, where we are, who you are. And this is the way that my brain decides if I'm using the word glasses or glasses. The real invention in AI and large language models is this exact thing. You can't just put all the text into the internet and get ChatGPT. There's a lot of fine-tuning or reinforcement learning that goes into making ChatGPT friendly and following your instructions and everything that you see today. The way that that works is they take the model, the AI, and they ask it a question. And the AI returns an answer to the question, or in this case, a few answers to the question. And a human or some kind of verification system decides which of those answers is the best. And when they decide which of the answers is the best, they update the model to make sure that next time that'll be the answer with the highest probability. And they've been able to take things like thinking and tool use and coding and use reinforcement learning to really make the models feel genius. So do I think that AI is going to take over the world? Maybe someday. But for now, what it's doing is just predicting the next word. And I don't think that that's likely to take over the world. But A lot of really smart people, the same people who invented this technology, are thinking about the next breakthrough in artificial intelligence. And maybe that will take over the world. So this is a very basic explanation of how ChatGPT works. If you're curious about more technical topics like this one, explained in slow English, comment what you want to hear about below. Thank you again for elevating your English. I'm Chris, and I'll see you soon.